In this video, let us look into the topic of sector of a circle and its area, in which we will, look into some useful points to remember. So the points are going to be based on the clock, Now say we've got a clock here, right? This is the clock. Say we've got the hour hand and the minute hand, all right? So what if the minute hand moves around the clock, right? There is some sector formed. What if the hour hand moves around the clock? There is some sector formed, right? Or a circle itself is formed when the minute hand moves around the clock entirely, and then that circle is of a radius of the length of the minute hand itself, right? And what if this hour hand moves around the circle, around the clock? It forms a circle again. So the radius of that circle is going to be the length of the hour hand itself, right? So based on this, based on the clock and the minute hand and all those things, we are going to, list down and try and understand some of the useful points that should be remembered to solve problems based on the sector of sector of a circle and its area. So let's start. So here we've got the first point. All right, so here we've got a point which reads like this: angle described by the minute hand in 60 minutes, right? If the minute hand finishes an entire 60 minutes, then it describes an angle of 360 degrees, right? It moves around one circle, so that angle is nothing but 360 degrees. So now what is the angle described by the minute hand in 1 minute? Well, it's going to be 360 degrees divided by 60 minutes. All right, so here we've got a point which reads like this: angle described by the minute hand in 60 minutes equals 360 degrees, right? Because when a minute hand completes 60 minutes, it makes a circle, it makes an exact circle, right? So that circle, if you take the angle of an entire circle, it's going to be 360 degrees. That's the angle the minute hand sweeps when it finishes 60 minutes, right? So now, based on this data, we are going to find out what is the angle described by the minute hand in 1 minute, right? So if in 60 minutes it describes an angle 360 degrees, then in 1 minute it describes an angle 360 degrees divided by 60 minutes, right? That's going to be 6 degrees. So when a minute hand moves 1 minute, it describes an angle of 6 degrees. This is worth remembering because we're going to apply this, and in fact these data, in the problems that we're going to solve in the forthcoming videos. So here we've got another point which talks about the hour hand and the clock. So angle described by an hour hand in 12 hours equals 360 degrees, because an hour hand completes a circle in exactly 12 hours, right? Say for example it starts at 10 a.m. When it reaches 10 p.m. it completes one circle. So that's how a minute hand completes one circle when it completes 60 minutes. So in the same way, an hour hand completes one circle in 12 hours. That's why we are talking about 12 hours here. Angle described by the hour hand in 12 hours is 360 degrees because it would have completed a circle. And then, if that is the case, then what is the angle described by the hour hand in 1 hour? It's going to be 360 divided by 12, because when it completes a circle, it's finished 12 hours, right? So if it has to be, if you want to find out the angle described by the hour hand in 1 hour, then just divide 360 degrees by 12. You get 30 degrees. So when an hour hand moves in such a way that it completes 1 hour, when it completes 1 hour, it describes an angle of 30 degrees. So an hour hand moves through an angle of 30 degrees to complete 1 hour, right? Or it rotates through 30 degrees in 1 hour. That's what it says. And what we're going to deduce from this is an angle described by the hour hand in 1 minute. So 1 hour, how many minutes? It's 60 minutes, right? So in 1 minute, it's going to cover 30 degrees by 60. That's going to be half a degree. That means an hour hand rotates through half a degrees in 1 minute. When 1 minute is completed, an hour hand would have moved or rotated through an angle of half a degree. That is 0.5 degrees. So that's all. So these are the points that has to be understood and remembered at the end of this video. That's the purpose of this video. So in the forthcoming videos, we are going to solve problems that are going to apply these points, that will need the application of these points. So I'll see you in the forthcoming videos with problems based on these concepts that we just did.